And gosh, like the thing with unschooling that now, would you like to have, okay, where would you like to go? Here, here, here. It's all entirely up to you. But consistency in learning is how you achieve, a mastery of that skill, like letting your child hang back at the base of the mountain and not letting them see the views from the top of the mountain. Hello, my name is Genevieve, and today I'll be reacting to this unschooling video called No Teachers, No Rules, the schooling trend where kids do whatever they want. So if you haven't heard about unschooling before, it's basically, well, from what I understand about it, is that you take a child out of school to educate them themselves, like do homeschooling supposedly, and then you don't homeschool them. Hopefully I'll be able to learn more from this video. I've actually watched this video before. I don't remember when. It was like months ago, if at least a year ago. So I don't remember everything from this video. So yeah, let's jump into it.
To understand unschooling, take everything you know about education and turn it on its head. There are no subjects, only life. The basics like reading, writing and maths come naturally when the kids are ready. Unschooled children learn what they want, when they want. It's completely up to them.
Okay, so I think that man explained what unschooling is, where it is up to the children to decide on when they want to learn reading, writing, and other subjects. He said there was no subjects. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. But let's keep on watching and see what they say.
Themselves. So rather than just giving them some facts, teach them how to find those facts and also how to problem solve.
I love your one-eyed monster.
Unschooling is not homeschooling, where children follow a curriculum and are regularly tested. Rachel and George Clark have removed their 4 kids from the edge.
By the way, if you did not watch my last video, I was talking about my homeschooling regrets, and I was homeschooled, but I never used a curriculum and I never was tested. So this is kind of scaring me, because what if I was actually unschooled, not homeschooled? Crazy.
The education system altogether. They believe that everyday life can educate their children better than teachers and textbooks.
You've rejected, in a way, the school system that most people think is not only a right but a privilege.
Depends on who you talk to.
Well, I think our education system hasn't changed substantially in a lot of years, and it still suits a lot of children. They're happy to do what the teachers ask, happy to learn as they're told, in the order they're told. We learn small bits to get to the bigger bit. Some kids, like our eldest, they want to see the big picture, and then they'll fill in the gaps of the smaller stuff when they need it.
I like how they started off by respecting that some children do work better in the classroom, but for their specific case, I guess unschooling is better.
I am not dying.
Rachel and George first turned to unschooling to help their eldest daughter, Jemima, who has Asperger's. The Clarks say Jemima thrived when they took her out of school. So they also withdrew 9-year-old Millie, and their son William has never set foot inside a classroom.
For us, it became a real battle at home in terms of trying to get her to school and then trying to get her to do what the teachers had asked. And I just watched my daughter go downhill really quickly in terms of her anger, frustration,
Self-esteem.
Anxious, just everything. So eventually I realised the system didn't fit her and I needed to remove her.
The system wanted her to fit in.
Yeah.
And she didn't fit in.
No, she didn't fit that system.
While the Clarks are very much in the middle of their education experiment. In rural Victoria, the results are in for one unschooling family. On their farm just outside of Bendigo, the Singh brothers are coming home to visit mum Carleen. The former teacher unschooled all 5 boys, and all have gone on to follow their passion, which for most has meant tertiary degrees or trades.
When I learned that children naturally have a wonderful love of learning and they want to find out things for themselves, I simply allowed for that.
The result?
I agree with her. I think all children naturally want to learn, and especially in a homeschooling setting where you can give your children the opportunity to learn based on what they're interested in. And when you're learning something that you're interested in, the information sticks better in your brain, I guess. You understand it better rather than, learning something in school where you're not particularly interested in that topic and you're just frustrated and bored and stuff. So I agree with that.
Results are quite amazing. Joel, the oldest, has a PhD in information technology and now works for internet giant Google. 30-year-old Dion is a social worker specialising in at-risk teenagers. Tali is at university studying music, which the youngest, Eric, also wants to do.
Wow. So this unschooling family, all of them seem to be professional adults and stuff with jobs and and which doesn't, you wouldn't expect that from children that are unschooled, I guess.
And 19-year-old Liam works with horses as an apprentice farrier.
Of your boys who've gone on to study later, how have they done that without a school qualification?
For Joel, who's the eldest, he kind of got a bit bored here at the age of 13, decided he'd like to, find something outside of the home to do. So we applied for him for the next year to do a computing course, and he did that computing course. He found it so boring, he did that one and the next year's one all in the same year. Then went on to do another course, eventually went through and finished university younger than any other university student in
That's very impressive.
Bendigo.
We can't let children just pick and choose what they want to eat, nor can we let them pick and choose what they want to learn.
Dr. David Zinger is a senior education lecturer at Monash University. He's concerned with the rise of unschooling in Australia, which is largely unregulated and outside the control of state education departments.
I think state authorities need to look very carefully at unschooling because it certainly doesn't meet the needs of accreditation of parents following a school curriculum.
Because there is no curriculum.
Well, the curriculum is decided by the child, and if the child wants to play all day, then I guess that's what they do.
I see this man's point of view from when he started talking in the beginning of this clip. And I read this book. I'll put what it's called on the screen. And she said that you can think of a parent as the hiking guide on your hike, your trek to climb Mount Everest. And as the guide, and you have, the people following you, those are your children. Now, would you like to have a guide that is not sure of the way or saying to who they're leading up the mountain, okay, where would you like to go? Here, here, here. It's all entirely up to you, but we need to be reaching the top. But it's entirely up to you, how we get there, what do you want to do? As a result, you probably wouldn't end up to the top of Mount Everest, and you'd probably be in risky and dangerous situations while you're, alongside this really dangerous mountain. And the people who are following you and they've chosen you as their guide to climb this mountain, they don't feel safe with you. They don't feel like they can trust you in keeping them safe on this hike. Let's assume that they have to go on this hike. Okay, when you let your children decide when to learn the basic skills that I feel like are a requirement to be a person in today's society, like reading, writing, and basic math, then you are essentially letting your child hang back at the base of the mountain and not letting them see the views from the top of the mountain. And also letting your child, when they want to learn without any consistent schedule or routine, which children need in their lives, especially when learning something. When you learn something, you have to be consistent with it. Consistency in learning is how you achieve a mastery of that skill and a mastery of understanding that knowledge. Leaving up the schedule to your child is just not beneficial in learning the information. Anyway, let's continue watching the video.
If there were a global headquarters for this free-range education revolution, It would be this unassuming home in the woods of New Hampshire in America's northeast.
What are you guys making?
I'm melting a crayon.
She's melting crayons with a glue gun.
Will this work if I call?
I don't know, Tip. You're gonna have to. I don't have time to.
No, our kids have never been tested. They've never learned from a textbook. Our life, we're just learning. It's no different than how you might live or I might live. I don't say right now, I'm doing math because I'm baking a cake. That's really not natural. We don't live life like that.
Author and unschooling advocate Dana Martin is the inspiration for many.
Would you make me a plant hanger again?
Sure, yeah.
I could use another one.
Yeah.
That means, therefore, kids don't just have total control over what they learn, but whatever they do and whenever they do it.
This is the thing about unschooling that is a bit weird to me.
Our kids don't have bedtimes. They don't have any restrictions on any kind of media, and they can eat what they want when they want. Now, when
You know what this reminds me? Oh, God, I don't remember the book, but it's when like these group of schoolboys, they get stranded on this island without any adult supervision, and they do whatever they want, whenever they want, and they eventually start, harming themselves and getting into dangerous situations. Basically, I feel like the parents are putting their own children like this, but I don't think they must have like a little bit of rules. Like, I don't believe that they do whatever they want. Like, come on, there has to be something.
when somebody first
No bedtime routine, no set bedtimes. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have set bedtimes for my kids.
hears that, they tend to think,
Well, I'm about to say that just sounds like chaos.
I know, and most people think that. If you would have told me that 50
Okay, before everyone freaks out, I do have a bedtime routine for my kids to go to sleep. It's just that I don't have like a specific time where they must be in bed. I just have a range, which is like between 7 and 8:30. But both my kids slept at 6:30, so
15 years ago, I would have believed the same thing. However, they make really good choices for themselves. Our kids go to bed when they're tired. They wake up when they're rested. Freedom and trust are the basis of this life, but I know it's really hard for most parents.
Yeah, I mean, the kids have total freedom to, anything from jumping on the trampoline at 2 in the morning to staying up late,
How late do the kids go to bed sometimes?
Yeah, well, I mean, just last night, I basically said, what do you think, Orion? Are you ready to go to bed? And it was 3:05 a.m. And
that's a bit extreme.
he said, yeah, I'm tired.
And how old is he?
And he's 5.
Yeah.
I do little jabs, Great.
They may go to bed and get up late, but a rules-free lifestyle doesn't mean the Martin kids sit on their hands.
There we go.
Devon, the eldest, spends much of his time learning practical skills, like woodwork and blacksmithing.
If I'm interested in woodworking, then I'm going to woodwork. If I'm interested in a video game, I'm going to play that video game. Whatever I want to do, I can do.
Have you looked at subjects, though? Like, if you went to school, you'd do history, geography,
Yeah.
math, English?
If I wanted to, I would. I'm learning what I'm doing, and I'm doing it pretty well, I'd like to think.
So most students in school would learn to read at the age of 6. How old were your kids?
Some of the children have really struggled with reading in particular, and so 2 of them were 11 and 12.
Oh my God.
Another 2 were 14, and Liam at 19 still finds reading quite difficult.
Oh my gosh. 11, 12, 14, and 19. I can't imagine for myself growing up not reading, but her kids all managed to go to university, so let's see what happens.
While Liam has found a successful career as a farrier, he still has trouble with the basics.
I've struggled with reading and writing a little bit.
Is that because if you don't find an interest in it, you don't do it?
I don't really think that that's my problem. I'm not really sure. I just know that I've always found it really, really difficult to read and write.
So he says he does not have an interest in reading and writing. He just has difficulty in it. So I don't think if he went to school he would have excelled at reading or writing, or if his mother would have put more attention on reading and writing, that he would have been a better reader. So maybe he does have some sort of dyslexia, or you know, just some people struggle with reading, I guess.
Older brother Dion didn't really learn to write till he was well into his 20s.
I think I really only learned to write maybe, might be 7 years ago when I actually had to. So up until then I just got out of it or avoided it in any way that I could.
Did that set you back that you didn't have that basic skill?
No, I just found ways around it, I think.
By writing, like, I'm really interested, like, writing with a pen and paper or writing like a paragraph or an essay. It's not clear like what writing means in this case. But I disagree with him. Writing is something that if you're really good at it, it can open a lot of opportunities for you. And gosh, like the thing with unschooling that kind of bothers me, I guess, and that you are depending on your child when they want to read and write, is that there are so many children in rural Indonesia or, you know, in Africa, I guess, where children don't even have the opportunity to read and write. You know, these children that are unschooled, the parents who have the ability, I guess, to teach them to read and write, even though they don't have to go to school, they can just be homeschooled. They don't give them those particular skills.
Learning to read and write is the most difficult thing that a child will ever learn, and it's the most important thing that a child will ever learn. And to be successful in life today, children need to be literate and numerate, and children cannot learn to read and write by themselves.
I agree. I think reading, writing is one of the most important skills that you can have because it just opens so many things for more learning. So instead of thinking, you know, reading, writing is such a chore, they can learn other things and go around it, you know. But if you think about, I'll give my child the ability to read and write, and then that can open up more learning for them. You know, instead of thinking of it that way, they can think of it this way. My 6-month-old daughter woke up, so she'll just be joining me for the rest of this video. I only have like 4 minutes to go. So let's continue.
If the boys were in school, might they have learnt to read earlier or at least have problems identified earlier?
I don't think they would have learned to read any faster. And I think what would have occurred is they wouldn't have
He doesn't look like he believes her in that scene.
been able to become the people that they've become because they haven't had any of that pressure to be a certain way or to learn in a certain manner that other people have learned.
And now another generation of Carlene's family is keeping away from the classroom. Joel and his wife Nikki have decided to unschool their
Another
4
baby!
kids.
It's another baby!
One of the things that is brilliant about unschooling is it means that you can follow the things that you're interested in.
So you wouldn't consider structured classroom education for your children at all?
No. At this point in time, this is what I can see has worked, and the outcome that is provided for Joel and his brothers is certainly an outcome that I would be interested in for my children.
In Toowoomba, the Clark kids have no problem with literacy. Both Jemima and Millie are avid readers, and William is gradually picking it up.
William, the age of 6 now, amazes me, all the stuff and the letters he knows, and just everyday life they learn it.
But you don't push them in front of a book to learn to read or write or do maths?
No.
I think I'm debunking a lot of unschooling myths right now from this video because it can, in some of the families here in this video, some of them are a lot extreme, some of them are not, but in each case, they are following what their child's passion is, and they're kind of putting like the basic on the back burner. And I think from this video, I discovered that I think I was unschooled, basically, which I don't know how to feel about that, but do you want to be unschooled? I want to make another one of these reaction videos to maybe like unschooling TikToks or Reels or homeschool related TikToks. So if you see a particular video that I can react to, if you can, then feel free to put the link of the video in the description and I'll make a video reacting to that. Also, I just want to say thank you so much for the comments lately, especially in my last video. Oh my gosh, it made my day reading everyone's comments. I'm so appreciative if you left a comment. Like, thank you so much. And I would love to know what you thought of this video, what you think of unschooling or homeschooling in general. I'd love to hear it below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you think, I don't know, unschooling is good, bad? So I'd love to know what you think. Anyway, catch you in the next one. Bye.